Television and movie production is a modern miracle. Rough estimates say that a typical animated movie has 600 people working on it throughout its development. That's 600 hands that it passes through and 600 opportunities for someone to leak the unfinished product. It's shocking that movie leaks don't happen more often. How do leaks of upcoming media affect audience and creators? What is the moral responsibility of consumers in engaging with leaked content? And how are we going to figure it all out through the Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise? Story Step.
It's like book club, but it's more than books, and it's not quite a club. Welcome back to Story Stack. My name is Ansley.
I'm Gabriel.
And I'm Lily.
And today's episode is about Avatar: The Last Airbender and about movie leaks. And I have to admit, I know literally nothing about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I am not the one leading this conversation, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic.
Which ship do you think Ansley would be a proponent of, Lily? Psychoanalyze.
Ansley would be a Zutara shipper. 100%.
He's like the bad guy, right?
He's the
like
firebender.
The enemies to lovers.
Yes
bit.
and no. Okay, Zuko, my misunderstood man, like...
Yeah, he's bad, but in a hot way.
In a hot way.
Yeah, that's where I'm
Literally,
at.
he's a firebender.
Right.
He's a prince.
He's the kind of emo looking one, right?
Yes.
Yes,
well, he gets
that's where I'm at.
Yes, we'll say in season 1, Zuko is a primary antagonist for Aang, who is the last airbender.
Incredible Story Stack content right there.
No, by predicting that Ansley would be a Zutara shipper, I am actually just outing myself as someone that thinks everyone should be a Zutara shipper. I say this with all of my Zutara fanfic writing knowledge, okay? I've lived in the trenches of Zutara, and it's the right place to be. Do I think that the show ended in a wrong way? No. I like Aang and Katang. They're cute. But I do think that Katara and Zuko make more sense. I think that Aang belongs with Katara. I don't think Katara belongs with Aang.
Not OTP. And Katara, not OTP. These are terminologies that I've learned.
Wait, and she deserves better than him?
In Aang, at least in the show, a lot of it is Aang is this 12-year-old kid who is unfrozen from an iceberg after 100 years. They thought that the last airbender...
Pause. I need a little bit of context. He doesn't stay 12. We're having a conversation about ships. Are these 12-year-olds in ships?
No, okay. Yes, but no. What was it? Long ago, there were 4 kingdoms, and the Fire Nation destroyed them all, okay? Trying to destroy as the Fire Nation decides they want to be an empire, they go and they kill all these avatars, which can bend all the elements, in an effort to just run the world. And in this process of destroying the airbenders, in an effort to destroy all the air temples, those were the first benders that the Fire Nation really attacked. And that was where the last avatar was supposed to be, because through every cycle, a new avatar is another bender. So you have one avatar that's born from the Water Tribe. You have another one that's born from the Fire Nation, another one that's born from the Earth Kingdom, and then one that's born from the Air Nation. So it cycles. That might not be the exact cycle that it is. I know that after airbending, it's water. Actually, I think it goes fire, air, water, earth.
Well, it's literally the intro. Water, earth, fire, air.
Okay. Oh. What?
It's literally the intro.
It's literally the intro. Together. They say it at the beginning of every episode. I'm sorry to call you out, Lily.
Water, earth, fire. Yeah, that's what I just said. Oh. But in a different way,
I'm
right?
the asshole. Okay.
I think I just started at a different place. I just started at a different place. I didn't start with water. I started with fire.
Things are heating up in the Avatar fandom.
No, okay. I feel like we're rambling way too on for this.
So okay,
we need to actually get into this.
I appreciate that, Lily. That's why we have you here as our resident fangirly. The thing I'm actually more interested in, no offense, Lily, the thing I'm actually more interested in is Ansley here, because for Lily and I, Avatar The Last Airbender obviously was a key cultural moment for both of us. I think Lily more so than me. I never wrote fanfic. But Ansley, why did this miss you?
I don't know. Because I was like aware of it, but I don't think there was anybody like in my circles that was watching it. And so it was just something that I was like mildly aware that other people were into, but I had never felt like a pressure, like an urge to watch it.
Interesting.
I really just sort of like stayed out of the loop as far as what it was about. Like I knew the basics of what was going on, but I didn't know enough about like what the conflict was or like what the plot was to draw me in.
Okay. I'm going to start this for you, okay? This is what I actually needed to say. I actually had this memorized at one point, okay? Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed, and my brother and I, Katara's brother, discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Incredible, Lily. Thank you for that performance. Ansley, can I get a you yelling "my cabbages" into the mic?
My cabbages?
My
like
cabbages.
Any sort of tone?
My cabbages!
Dude, I need you to do that. Actually, we're going to go down the line. My cabbages! Ansley?
My cabbages!
Fantastic.
That felt like being 8 and being told to spell ICUP, just so you guys know. I felt like I was sort of being tricked into something until you both did it.
No. It's all peace and love here. We're not invading other nations, okay? This has been rambling. So the reason we're here is because recently, Avatar The Last Airbender has had a feature-length movie that's been in production for a while. That's The Legend of Aang, The Last Avatar. Now, the movie was intended to release on October 9th, 2026. However, on April 11, 2026, a version of it was leaked to the public, and last time I checked, millions and millions of people have seen the leaked version. So we're kind of trying to figure out what leaks do to fandom communities, how they affect creators, and also just trying to fan out about our favorite Avatar ships.
Before I even knew there was a leak, I was just seeing hot Zuko edits, okay? Adult Zuko somehow got even hotter, okay? And a lot of Zutara edits because sorry, I'm the sun, you're the moon, okay? Water, fire, they're just perfect together. Lightning, water, like, come on, people, come on. No, but seriously, I saw the edits before I even was aware there was a leak. I was like, where are these like hot Zuko edits coming from? And it was like, it all flooded my For You page in like one day. And then of course, as I dug into this, I'm like, where are they getting this? I discovered that there was a leaked movie that had, somehow found its way to the general public. And I was so shocked because I, had on my calendar, October of 2026, we're going to be getting a movie on Paramount Plus.
It was literally on Lily's calendar, just to throw in there.
Literally,
It's literally
we were
on
talking
Lily's
about
calendar.
this
Guaranteed.
Before the episode about Lily's calendar, it was literally on her
I
calendar.
put releases that I'm excited about on my calendar. And if I go to October, okay, it's literally, actually, it's not on my calendar. That's embarrassing. I think it was October.
Oh, that's what you're embarrassed about.
I think it was October 6th or October 9th. It's October 9th. So I was correct. Mind you, it was in my brain.
Congratulations. Okay, so you brought up something interesting here in that you, as a fan, weren't even immediately aware that there was a leak of the movie. You were just getting thirst trap Zuko edits on your algorithms. And I mean, I'm jumping the gun a little bit on what I want to talk about here, but there is a whole, I'm going to call it conspiracy side to this movie leak, that some early market research was done, and maybe Paramount, or I forget what the parent company of Paramount is, realized...
It's the Paramount Global Skydance Corporation,
Paramount
because I just did a business
Skydance.
project on them last quarter.
Hell yeah. Notoriously bad company that has terrible business practices. But that's besides the point. Thank you, Ansley. The thing is that the conspiracy here is that they did some early market research on this movie and realized it was not going to hit the way that they wanted it to, and that this was some kind of intentional leak in order to use the assets, at least, to drum up engagement, such as what happened with Lily, just getting flooded with more engaging Avatar content that they could later on use to promote the IP further and further.
I got onto the side of the leak where people were debating whether it's ethical or not to watch a leaked movie, especially when you maybe have a parent company that isn't maybe acting in the best faith for the movie. There was talks about this movie potentially getting a theater release and actually getting into movie theaters and having that sort of opening. And Paramount essentially decided, no, we're actually just going to send you straight to streaming. And so there was conversations about that. Well, the people that made the movie have already been paid. The only people that haven't been paid are Paramount. We don't even like Paramount, so why would we support them? Issue is that by watching the leaked version and you don't watch the actual, if you don't watch the actual version upon release, there's not going to be more of this content. Paramount's not going to pay for another Avatar movie to be made if you really enjoyed it. And while I'm all for making sure that the people that get paid, the artists of the movie, are getting their pay. I appreciate the people that are like, oh, we're not stealing anything from the artists. We're just stealing from the big Paramount Corporation, which we disagree with because they're doing terrible things and they didn't give them their actual theater release when they deserve that. It sounds like Paramount wants to have a K-pop Demon Hunter situation where they're just building up like a lot of hype around this animated movie. But you have all these good reasons and you're still potentially like or harming the community as a whole because you don't get sequels.
I want to swing this over to Ansley. Now, Ansley, I know that you have strong moral compunctions and you didn't watch the movie on your sheer ethics alone. No. And I really appreciate that.
No, I didn't even know that there was an Avatar movie to be leaked. So there's that. I will say I have experienced leaks in other fandoms.
Isn't 21 Pilots kind of notorious
yes.
for that? They have quite a few leaks.
They have quite a few leaks. So my stance on it, and I don't want to speak for like, this is what I think everybody should do. This is just what works for me. Because it's my belief that at the end of the day, you do what works for you. And other people's lives are not your business. Unless they're actively harming something else. But I don't think watching a leak is actively harming something else. That being said, I feel like the first time with music specifically, it's such an experiential thing. And so I know, like, I go as far as when there's a concert coming up, because I buy 21 Pilot concert tickets without even looking at the price.
Oof.
I will be there. I won't even look at, like, concert leaks. Like, I will avoid anything on my For You page, anything in my algorithm, because when I get there, I want to be surprised, and I want to experience it in the way that I was intended to experience it. And so, like, with album leaks, I don't listen to them. I will scroll immediately. Like, I don't want things to be spoiled for me. And so I think it sort of depends on what it is and how you want to experience it as an audience member. If it's something that is incredibly important to you and the experience of, you know, viewing it or listening to it or being a part of it for the first time is a part of the intended experience for you to have, then I don't look at leaks or spoilers. I try not to. But there are other instances, I know we talked about this on the last episode with dark romance and about some more triggering topics. I have watched like full movie breakdowns of things that I was curious about but had no interest in actually seeing on my screen. So I think it kind of depends.
And Gabriel, you're here as the person that has watched the Avatar movie leak. I'm curious about it because, of course, I'm only getting edits of Zuko. But I mean, is it actually a full movie? Like, is it the full movie with dialogue, with the scenes and like everything pieced together? Is it fully making sense?
Thank you, Lily, for pointing out that I am completely morally and ethically bankrupt.
We've talked about the fact that it's not necessarily like you're not stealing from the artists that have already been paid for it. You're just not supporting Paramount. But if you then proceed to not watch it when it does officially come out, the metrics will throw everything off, and then Paramount will never buy another Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. And of course, the Avatar community wants those made. That being said, potentially another company could pick up Avatar: The Last Airbender. Maybe Paramount will be like, let's sell it to Netflix. But I mean, none of the streaming platforms are really fully great. There's not really a good solution where it's like, oh, there's a more ethical one that they can sell to, short of just like selling it, like producing it themselves, putting it in movies like that. It just would be really convoluted.
So as our resident person here who did actually watch the movie, I can say that it is a complete enough movie to watch. The voice acting, the story is completely finished and there for you to experience. There are seemingly some animations that are missing. I remember I was scrolling through some threads online where people were pointing out that there's like a sequence where Toph earth bends and nothing actually happens. However, I think the animation sequences that are missing are minute enough that it's not actually going to distract that much of your experience. You could sit down and watch it and have a full movie experience. The thing I would like to point out, as having watched it just recently, I didn't even really like it that much. Like it's a bunch of controversy and hubbub over a movie that was. It's not even that I didn't like it. It was just like kind of boring. Like, okay, this is a thing that every like anime fan has dealt with at some point, where I don't know, you're huge into Jujutsu Kaisen or something, and you love the show, and then a movie gets announced and you're like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. And then you realize that the movie can't upset the source material in any way. So it's like, it is the safest, most inoffensive movie that you could possibly make. It's exactly what the Avatar movie is. It's just like, it's these characters, but as an adult, hanging out and having a fun adventure that does not in any way upset character dynamics in the overall world of Avatar. I got to the end of it and I was like, it was fun. Animation is sick, though. There's some really cool bending fight scenes.
Just to that point, to bring in something else that has nothing to do with Avatar, because that's my role in this episode.
Love that.
You had said, like, they're making a movie, they can't upset anything that's already established in the world of canon. One piece of media that I think does it incredibly well, actually, and does change the canon, is Young Sheldon.
Oh my God, yes. I've been wanting to do a Story Stack Young Sheldon episode since the beginning.
Okay, look, I did not watch all of Big Bang Theory. It got old very quickly to me, but I loved Young Sheldon because it wasn't about Sheldon. Really, it was about his family. But one of the things that stuck out to me is that in Big Bang, Sheldon claims that there was a moment where his dad cheated on his mom and it like changed things for their whole family. But then in Young Sheldon, it's revealed that it was his mom like coming back from Germany, and so she had like the German girl, very stereotypical costume, and they were just like role playing. But Sheldon walked in and saw it and thought that it was another woman. And so that's the way in like Big Bang, Sheldon's dad was sort of written as this like kind of shitty father that was just drunk and didn't really like his family. But in Young Sheldon, they set him up in such a different way that like you don't want him to be that guy, and they found a way to make it to where he's not that guy, but it doesn't upset what actually like happened in Big Bang either, which is a very long-winded way of saying I feel like you can have a movie or a spinoff that changes how things happened in the canon while still respecting that was the perception of how it happened.
I think what's also interesting is that we're moving from show to movies, whereas with the Big Bang Theory, with Young Sheldon, with the now spinoff with
Georgie and Mandy's first wedding, first marriage.
Yeah. like those are all TV shows, and I think TV shows have been doing spinoffs. I think it's more weird to see there be a movie spinoff that is supposed to continue canon. There of course have been like movies made from shows before, but I feel like for the most part they're like what Gabriel is saying. They're more fluff, they're more fan feeding movies where it's just like you want to live in this world a little bit longer, but we're not going to like do anything too scary. But I agree with you, Ansley, is I think that they should be allowed to change canon, or you're still allowed for there to be issues. Like I haven't seen the movie, but I think Aang and Katara should be allowed to like fight and their relationship not be perfect. Like I get that we ended the show in a place where they have kind of accepted who they are as like a team, and they love each other, and it is very sweet and endearing, and it is this like perfect like first love kind of story of immaturity and growth and figuring out who you are with each other. I do like Katang. Don't come for me, okay?
She doesn't, though, actually.
But I think that they're allowed to have issues. Now, I think that there needs to be conflict in order for a story to be compelling. And it cannot just be like, oh, we're just going to let them fight more bad guys. Like there actually needs to be character conflict, not just external. There needs to be internal. And that's just a part of writing and storytelling.
I also think, and maybe this is a little bit of a hot take, but I think, because one of you described it, I think it was you, as like a fan service sort of feel. Like nothing happens. It's just sort of, fans want to live in this world for a little bit longer. And I think that, I don't want to say that the reason it doesn't land well for you, Gabriel, is like the resident viewer of it. I don't want to say that it's like disrespectful necessarily, but I think the problem is that it overlaps with what fan fiction exists for. And so when you see like, and then it's not to shit on either one of them, on big production movies or fanfic, because they serve different purposes. And so I think when those purpose lines get crossed and you have like a big production of something that just sort of feels like a fanfic, it feels weird. Like it puts you on weird footing. So you were like, I didn't dislike it. Like it was fine. It just didn't really feel like a movie. And that's because it should have been a fan fiction.
Just to hit this point before we lose it. Sheldon is an earthbender. Leonard is a waterbender. Howard is a firebender. Oh, wait, no, I think that's kind of racist to make Raj an airbender. I'm working on it, guys. I'm doing the Big Bang Theory as benders.
Wait, why is it racist?
Well, because the air nomads have Indian influence, and Raj in the show is Indian, and it's a little too well. I don't know if it's racist so much as respecting.
The real question is, what bender powers would you want to have?
So, I think if I'm gaming it, as per the context of the show, I think waterbending is the most overpowered one. Mm-hmm. I think you just kind of like automatically win if you're a waterbender. That being said, I think earthbending would be the funnest.
I think earthbending is slept on because honestly, airbending I think is the one that has the least capabilities as far as like as far as subbending, okay? Because with waterbending, you get bloodbending, right? That's the subbending of water. You also
for Ansley's information, that's where your waterbending is so powerful you can control other people's blood.
I'm following.
What else does waterbending have? I can
infer what subbending means. Thank you.
Is there something else besides bloodbending? Is there another waterbending?
There's ice bending. Okay. There's the plant bending that the swamp people do.
Yes, the plant bending that the swamp people do. I forgot about that. Firebending has lightning power, like lightning bending, as well as anything else besides lightning that you can think of.
There's in the Korra show, there's magma bending at one point.
That's earth bending.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got fact checked.
At magma bending, because I also watched Legend of Korra. Okay, I'm that girl, and I enjoyed it too. So actual Avatar community, we're kind of split on that one. I'm one of the people that I enjoyed it.
Story Stack is a proponent of the Legend of Korra,
and so
I think I've actually seen an episode of that one. I didn't know that was connected.
Yeah.
It's great. It's not as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender. As far as like, I enjoyed Legend of Korra more because I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. Korra does fight more intense villains than Aang ever did. Also, Korra is like, let's kill. go for the throw immediately.
My slay queen.
Yes, literally. But earthbending is so slept on because you have metal bending, you have magma bending, and you just can like just bend earth. Like earthbending has like these sort of like very powerful sub-bending capabilities, which I just think is really interesting. And the fact that Aang is an airbender, and you can fly. That's about the like specialness of it.
I like how she puts that in finger quotes like it's not cool. Like, hey, you can fly.
But not all of them. I mean, not every bender can do the sub bending too. So to be fair, but like flying, it was like 1 in a million. Okay, it was like, oh, we don't even know if flying is a real thing that airbenders can do because it was written about like a bajillion years ago by like one man. We don't know if it's real. And then in Legend of Korra, it's proven to like still be real. So there's that. And I mean, Toph, the queen that she is the one that discovers metal bending. Like she actually invents it. So I don't know. I guess I think earthbending is slept on. I agree waterbending is kind of maybe the most powerful. But I would want to live with the air nomads.
I'd want to do waterbending because I like the beach. And when I was a kid, I used to do this in the shower and watch the water run off my hands.
Ansley might be the realest Avatar fan right now. Like, I don't think there's a more correct answer than I want to waterbend because I like the beach. Like, yeah, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airbending can enter the spirit world. I guess that's pretty sick. And that's like a very like air nomad cultural thing. Like not like everyone could do that. And it's not just Avatar specific.
Hot
like, it's
take.
Like,
do we think Sabriel was an airbender with how she entered the Death Realm?
Story stack crossover. Let's go.
yes.
Go watch the Sabriel episode. Shameless self-plug. That was all.
Yes. No, I think that Sabriel would have vibed with the airbenders. Maybe. No, she's a little violent.
She has a deep connection. She has a deep connection to death, which is the point of Sabriel. And I think of all of the benders, I think maybe the Water Tribe has the deeper connection to like death culture. Like with the whole moon spirit thing and letting, disconnecting and, oh man. You know, this is actually kind of a cooler thing about Avatar, is that I think for a lot of kids growing up watching it, it was like an introduction to things like Eastern philosophy. I won't say that Avatar is particularly deep because it's not. It's a fun cartoon. However, it genuinely has these Eastern spiritualism and philosophy influences that I think is doing what we're discussing right now. It made kids reflect on death and letting go and your place in the world and your place within your own culture and society. And it's like, to bring it all back around to the movie, it kind of makes it even more depressing that the movie was just boring.
There's even the really cool detail that water, earth, air, fire, they all have different bending techniques that the animators drew from martial arts. And like the specificity in the movements between the different tribes, I think is really... It's just another really interesting detail that if you pay attention, there's a lot of intentionality in the storytelling. And you're saying that Avatar is not that deep, but I watched this and from a storytelling perspective, from the different like characters, I mean, bringing an ensemble cast together is hard. Making it compelling, even harder. Giving them each their own individual conflicts while also, you know, trying to save the world as 12 to 16-year-olds is, I mean, impressive. And the story is super interesting. I mean, for it being a children's show, was so impressed by it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is there an arrow on his head? That's always been something I've been curious about.
So the arrow is a tattoo. It is the air nomads. It's part in the show. It's genuinely just part of their culture. I think you could really end the explanation there. However, I think the deeper explanation would be from a visual media standpoint. Aang, the main character, has this thing where he goes into avatar state, which is kind of his like super ultimate form. It's deeper than that, but it is kind of his super ultimate form. And from a visual standpoint, having the arrow light up when he goes into
It lights up?
It does. It lights
That's
up when
cool
he
as
goes
fuck.
into his super form. It just looks really cool. And yeah, all of the airbenders get those tattoos at some point.
So they're all also bald too? Like, is that a bit?
Yes, that's also part of their culture.
Yeah, I was gonna add, it's not a Avatar specific quality. It's an Airbender specific quality. And in Legend of Korra, you actually get to like see sort of the reasoning behind when an Airbender gets a tattoo. It is more like most like a baptism / like yeah, like it is a coming of age sort of like ceremony that happens when you've sort of reached your teenage years, and you like, but it's a level of maturity. It's not a certain like, oh, you're 12 now. I don't think, if I'm remembering correctly. There's the airbending girl who is Aang's granddaughter. She eventually
The
she gets her
12-year-old has a
tattoos.
granddaughter?
No.
The granddaughter is 12.
In Legend of Korra, you follow.
Oh, this is the spin-off show.
The spin-off show.
Gotcha.
You follow Aang's descendants a little bit, and the next Avatar, who is Korra. But you also meet Aang's sons and daughter, and grandkids, and the youngest grandchild. She's not the youngest grandchild. She's the grandchild of Aang. She gets her tattoos in the show, and you sort of see the ceremony behind it and the like how it is kind of symbolic of your growth as an airbender.
All right, bringing it full circle. Going through this process of watching this Avatar movie get leaked and seeing community reactions to it and seeing company reactions to it, it made me wonder how the people here at StoryStack would react if your creative work got leaked ahead of schedule. Lily, I mean, I know you're working on a book right now in the editing process. What would your genuine, honest to goodness reaction be if that got leaked out early and people were engaged with it?
It's hard because in the book community, you don't necessarily hear about, I think, full manuscripts being leaked. You hear about them being pirated all the time, but not like early leaks of the book per se. At least not that I'm aware of. Like I just don't hear about that often. There's a lot of copyright laws that protect the fact that even if something gets leaked, like it is still my work, like no one can claim it as their own. I would be disappointed because you're not making it. It's even though you still have rights to it and you can claim it and you can get it taken down. It would be disappointing for something like a book that you have been working on for, at least a year, if not years. Multiple rounds of editing, characters that you've spent so much time with that your brain is literally like functioning differently and you think about them every waking moment. It would be sad to see if people were genuinely engaged and love it, that it didn't get the proper release that it deserved.
Yeah, definitely for me, it's the idea that somebody could see your story in an unfinished state. I mean, I think about a lot of the things that I've written, a lot of the things that I've made, and there's definitely, early development parts of it where like, that's just for me. I was just messing around with stuff, and like that was never intended to be what it ultimately would look like. There is another side of it where I do believe in, when it comes to specifically media, all publicity is ultimately good publicity. Like if your thing that you're working on gets leaked, it can still ultimately come back to benefit you just from a sheer publicity standpoint. And I do actually think that is what is happening currently with the Avatar franchise. But ultimately, I am on the side of I would be devastated because I don't want my hard-earned creative work to be seen in an unfinished state.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a given that, like, whoever's having their work leaked is going to be devastated. I've always been a perfectionist, and I hate people seeing me do something when I'm not ready for people to see it yet. But I also think there's like such an interesting culture to leaks, in that people that get stuff leaked are like begging the internet not to engage with it. I feel like that's really common. And I feel like if something were to happen to me, like I would just, the second that it's leaked, I would know. Like this is a Pandora's box. Like there's no getting it back in. And so I feel like I would be devastated, but I wouldn't be getting online begging people not to look at stuff and to like wait for the release. That's just such an interesting thing to me.
I would agree with like, yeah, maybe you can address the fact that like, oh, this has been released. I'm also on the side of Gabriel of like, it depends on what stage of development this book is at. If it's getting a bunch of bad like publicity and it was an unfinished product, it's like, yeah, you were gonna find typos. You were gonna find like, it's not gonna be so terrible because if you've gotten a book deal and it's already passing hands beyond yours, like it's already in a somewhat finished state as far as like to you, it should feel very finished. And then an editor will go, actually, no, X, Y, and Z is wrong. And you're gonna be cutting this apart. But it's going to make sense, but there's going to be like certain line editing things or, oh, riddled with cliches here. And, oh, I hate the fact that like this, you know, this whole entire scene just doesn't make sense here. And, oh, the pacing was a little off here. And you feel disappointed because you're like, yeah, it wasn't finished. Yeah, we were still in the editing process. If it's a release where the book is finished, like it's already in the hands of the, you know, maybe finishing touches, getting things printed stage, it could maybe be better because then you're getting a genuine reaction. But if people are suddenly saying, well, this author can't write, I'm not going to buy the book when it comes out because if it's like this, it's terrible, then you've been screwed. Watch the movie, even if you watched the leak, I would say, because you don't know, they could still be, you know, I don't think they're tweaking it anymore because I feel like it left the hands of the animation team. You don't know what they're going to fix and change and do before October.
I would agree with that. I honestly think, again, as the person who watched the movie, it felt like it was almost finished. However, even with just small animation flourishes, I do feel like there are still elements that could elevate it even a little bit. And it's still worth watching the movie on final release to give your full opinion of it. And that's what I'll ultimately be doing.